Hello and welcome to the CNBC-TV18 Mumbai studio. I'm Ekta Batra and you're watching Your Stocks this Wednesday afternoon. Well, we have a lot of stocks which are in focus and we have a very lively market on our hands as well. We have the Nifty, which is up around 64 odd points. It's recovered back to levels of above 20,900. So currently at around 20,920 as we speak for the Nifty, and the mid-cap index is higher by around 0.2%, largely consolidating with a positive bias for at least the mid-caps as well as for the Nifty, and hovering around record highs. The Bank Nifty, however, a bit sluggish, so down around 140 odd points currently for the Bank Nifty. Well, joining us this afternoon, we have Rajat Bose of rajatbose.com joining in on the technicals, Parthiv Shah, who's a director at Tracom Stock Brokers, to answer all of your fundamental stock queries. Parthiv as well as Rajat, welcome to the show. Well, let's get to the first question then. The first question, in fact, is a portfolio question. It's about a bunch of stocks in Rajesh's portfolio. So Rajesh Joseph writes to us from New Delhi. He holds 50 shares of Adani Wilmar, which he's bought at around 379.5 rupees. Shares of Adani Total Gas, which he's bought at around 750. And shares of Adani Energy, which he's bought at around 900 odd rupees. He wants to know what the future prospects of his investments are. Well, Rajat, we'll come to you first, considering that there's been a strong bounce back that we've seen in a lot of these Adani stocks. What would you recommend at current levels and maybe technically on a couple of these Adani counters?
First of all, my apologies because I am suffering from a sore throat and choked voice. So it might be a little difficult to understand what I'm saying. Ask me if I have to repeat. But the thing is that Adani Wilmar or AWL on the weekly chart, it is showing good traction. It needs to take out 415 kind of levels. If that were to happen, in that case, there will be a good swing up. And I would suggest if the investor is holding this company, then he should continue to hold it. Regarding ATGL, that is Adani Total Gas, it has given a breakout in the recent past. This week, it actually moved above its 200 exponential moving average. And chances are that it would up. So one should continue to hold on. No fresh buying immediately, but now it should be held on. Regarding Adani Enterprise, again, the same thing. Here also, there is some kind of a breakout above the 200 exponential moving average, and the volume figures are suggesting that yes, there is a lot of interest, so one should continue to hold on, buy only after some more days, because just about crossing the 200-day moving average doesn't mean that it would sustain. So watch out, and then if you have to add, go for that. So these are the calls on in my reading. Adani Group stocks are doing well. One should continue to hold them.
Okay, all right. Parthiv, fundamentally, what would your recommendation be?
Good afternoon, Ekta, Rajata, and our viewers. I think we all know that fortunes of this group entirely changed in the last 2 weeks. One is thanks to the fact that there's a lot of clarification from the US markets in terms of what they felt for the entire Hindenburg controversy. Not only that, there was a Supreme Court verdict also, which was going in favor in terms of sentimentally for this group. So that was a huge overhang for this entire group. And I think one good thing which has happened post Hindenburg is if you see what cost controls and more importantly, what sort of fundraising the group has done. They just wanted to probably prove that their assets have a value and they could get one of the best values around. Though there's a lot of debate that a lot of their companies are richly overvalued as compared to a lot of their peer sets. But I think the investor GQG also invested is making very good gains. Not only that, our sense is that out of the 3 companies that are shared here, I think we would suggest profit booking in Adani Wilmar, because this is one company where probably the group has kind of struggled in terms of generating a lot of value for the shareholders. Not only that, it's a tricky business, has a lot of cyclicality, and probably there are a lot of chatters and rumor mongering regarding sale of this business. But I would certainly suggest to hold on to Adani Total Gas and also Adani Energy. In Adani Total Gas, I think no doubt it's a city gas distributor, will look extremely expensive on the face of it. But I think this company has a lot of plans in collaboration with Total of France, where they're also looking at some pilot testing for hydrogen as a fuel cell. So these, I think, prospects keep the stock exciting. So the average price at which the investors invest is a lot lower. So certainly hold on to this. In terms of Adani Energy, there's a name change formerly known as Adani Transmission. I think last quarter, the company added almost 550 circuit kilometer lines. They're sitting on almost 20,000 kilometers of circuit kilometer lines. And going ahead, they have huge plans to kind of double this network over the next 4 to 5 years. So even here, the fixed asset quality is very good. The stock has had a massive run up from the lows. No harm booking some profits, but rest of the position certainly hold on for the longer horizon.
Okay, all right. Well, as you can see, the stocks are firing away in today's trading session as well, the Adani stocks. But let's get in another query now. In fact, we have a caller. We have Shashidhar, who is on the line from Bangalore, who's made investments in India Bulls Real Estate. Shashidhar, hi.
Hi all. Good afternoon, everyone. So I've been following CNBC and Money Control from since the time I started investing in stock market. So it is giving good knowledge on the stock market as well. So I just have a query on India Bulls Real Estate company. So all the real estate companies are booming, but this company is still holding on to the low price. So is there any, momentum is going on, or so what could be the level to watch out for this stock?
Okay, all right. Well, that's fair enough because the stock has been absolutely flat on a year-to-date basis. And Shashidhar does have a point because a lot of the real estate companies have done extremely well in the past 1 year odd. In fact, the stock has declined around 7% odd. So in that context, then Parthiv, what would you recommend on India Bulls Real Estate? Sluggish in terms of returns?
See, I think especially I've seen this trend, Ekta, that whenever any particular sector, and case in point being real estate sector here, I think has a massive bull run. And after a very long structural down cycle, we see an upswing and an up cycle. And especially when we see most of the players in this segment getting re-rated, showing very good traction, having a lot of balance sheet deleveraging. And here is a case of India Bulls Real Estate, which has kind of really languished this entire sector's rally. And that kind of really does not help with the sentiment. No doubt there's a lot of chatter in this company that there'll be some debt restructuring, the new promoters, including that of Blackstone, would turn around. But I think it's going to take a lot of time, and one really does not want to wait endlessly till the cycle peaks out and then we see a down cycle. So in the real estate space, if an investor wants to invest a lot of other good options, I would probably avoid India Bulls Real Estate.
Okay, all right. And technically, any kind of upside that you see, Rajat?
My experience with this stock has been very poor. Although initially I made money and my clients made money, but after that, the kind of thing that has happened. So.
Okay, all right, Rajat, we'll let you get your connection back and maybe your voice as well. Maybe it's the pollution which is finally getting to people like Rajat in terms of losing his voice. But nonetheless, we do have Raj who writes to us from Mumbai. He holds around 1,000 shares of Delta Corp, which he's bought at around 190 rupees. He's asking what to do, whether to remain invested or to book his losses. Well, interestingly, he's currently sitting on a loss, but interestingly, we're talking about the real estate space. Parthiv, Delta Corp is actually ventured into the real estate space. They've formed a JV with Peninsula Land. What's your recommendation? Long term, do you think there could be a recovery in terms of the stock?
I think a lot was going good for this particular company, Ekta, and all of a sudden we saw this GST-related notices for the company and the amount staggering at around 6,000 crores. Of course, the company is going to try and fight this out, and recently there was some judgment from Calcutta High Court in terms of giving them some relief, and post which the stock also rallied. But I think it's still a battle work in progress. Nothing is concrete as yet, so that will surely kind of sour the sentiments, and probably probably their call about investing in Peninsula land. I think that is not something that investors of Delta Corp have invested the company into. The reason for investment in Delta Corp is to play the casino theme and play the gaming theme in the country, where Delta Corp has a great track record. So due to the current sentiments, I would suggest an avoid in Delta Corp and not add to any new positions.
Okay, suggest and avoid, don't add to any new positions. Rajat, we lost you when we were discussing Indiabulls real estate, but your view on a stock such as Delta Corp, which has lost 35% this year.
Well, Delta Corp, I would say that despite that new forays into real estate and all, market is not at all enthusiastic. Last 4 trading sessions, when market has shot up like anything, this stock is going down and it is testing its 20-day moving average. I would say only when it takes out 180, where the 200 exponential moving average is located, if that is crossed and sustained, only then one should look at this stock for any kind of investments. As of now, I would say it's an avoid.
Okay, all right. So Delta Corp is an avoid at this point in time. Let's get another question. Siva Kumar writes to us from Tamil Nadu, who has 85 shares of IDFC First Bank, which he's bought at 120, wants to know what to do, whether he should remain invested or maybe book his losses at this point in time. Well, it's not done too badly. IDFC First Bank on a year-to-date basis has given good returns, but still to get to the buy price. So, Rajat, what would you recommend on IDFC First Bank, technically?
See, if you remember, then Mr. Vaidyanathan said that we are ready for 2s and 3s, but not 4s and 6s. So if somebody is actually investing in this stock for, say, even 1 year, I don't think there would be any fireworks. But for a long-term, with a long-term perspective, if one is investing in it, the charts, the weekly chart as well as the monthly chart, they suggest that it is on an uptrend. Currently, a correction is going on, but weekly chart is also showing that there is some kind of an upswing developing. If I were a shareholder, I would have held on. In fact, a lot of my clients might be holding positions in it for the longer term.
Okay. Parthiv, would you concur that maybe in the short term, it wouldn't give that much in terms of returns, but it's probably a longer term play?
Firstly, some of what I recollect, this could be IDFC Limited, and that too probably if the investor is a long-term investor, it could be IDFC Limited pre the split of the bank, because IDFC First Bank, as I recollect, has not touched levels of 120. Nonetheless, giving a view on IDFC First Bank, see what has happened is that thanks to the fact that last 2-3 quarters have been stupendous in terms of what they've delivered, the book value, the price to book multiple has changed from the lows of around 1.1 times. It is now quoting at around 2 times price to book multiple. Management is pretty confident that they can grow the book by 20 to 25% even over the next 4-5 years, and the management has given a long-term guidance that thanks to the fact that a lot of old legacy loans have kind of been written off, now they should not forecast any such big problems in terms of corporate accounts. And I think their underwriting standards so far has been extremely good. The track record goes back in time with Capital First as well. So hoping for that to continue, probably if the investor has a 3 to 5 year horizon, we do expect that the stock should double over the next 4 years. So I think with the long-term view, certainly hold on to it.
Okay, long-term views, certainly hold on to it. I just want to point out there are a couple of these stocks which are buzzing around. Advanced Enzymes, for example, is showing a lot of volume and price action. So that stock is up around 8.5%. It should come up for you. It's given returns of around 27% this year. Last quarter, they did see multi-quarter highs in terms of margins. So maybe there's some amount of optimism coming in. Even Thyrocare is not doing too badly, over 600 odd rupees for that particular stock. It's up around 6 odd % at this point in time. It's still quite sluggish year to date. Well, we'll take a short break, but up next, lot more queries lined up. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Well, we still have with us our guest this afternoon, Parthiv Shah on the fundamentals, Rajat Bose on the technicals to answer all of your queries. We do have one query coming in now. We have Mr. K.S. Rao, in fact, who's on the line from Andhra Pradesh with a question. He has investments in all cargo logistics. Mr. Rao, go ahead.
Madam, I brought that 100 shares for all cargo at the rate of 270. Please inform the cost of the company. I can hold that up to 2 years.
Okay, all right. You're willing to hold it for around 2 odd years and buy price 270, just about breaking even at these levels. But the stock is corrected significantly, Rajat, all the way from levels of around 449, which was its 52-week high. It's sitting close to its 52-week low, which is at 246. What would you recommend to Mr. Rao on his investments?
Well, he can continue to hold on unless it breaks down on a weekly basis, the level of 250. But this needs to take out at least, say, 280 to 290 kind of range, because there a lot of supplies are likely to come. And even if that is taken out, there will be more problems around, say, 310. Currently, it's in a sideways movement for nearly 1 year. And only when 310 is decisively taken out, you can see some kind of an upswing. Otherwise, it is not yet giving any technical signal to suggest that there will be an immediate upswing. So it's up to him. Either he put a stop loss and continue to hold on, or else he chooses something else.
Okay, well, Parthiv, the company at least plans to divest some amount of non-core assets. Do you think that could probably change the fortunes? What would you look at when it comes to all cargo?
See, Ekta, this is a company which has also been into inorganic acquisition. I recollect they had bought a stake in Gati, and all their divisions, I think, we've been tracking since long. Somehow, I think, despite the fact that the management has been successful in growing the revenues for the international supply chain, for the express logistics business and the contract logistics, but we have not seen any major change in terms of improvements in their margins, and they're quoted at around 5% EBITDA margins. And probably the company also had some issues with debt, and that's why probably they're talking about sale of some non-core assets. And despite the fact, when we are seeing most of the logistics players likes of Blue Dart, etc., doing extremely well, this one has been languishing. So probably I think there are other better bets to play in this sector, and we do like Blue Dart as a company going ahead. Also, I think I would suggest something like an Adani port. No doubt it's not a pure logistic play, but again, I think it's a very good proxy to logistics and a great proxy to India's exim growth trajectory going ahead.
Okay, well, let's get another question now. We have Kunal Sachdev, who writes to us from Delhi, holds 2,500 shares of SAIL, the PSU steel maker, at 93 odd rupees, so sitting on a profit there, and has been holding it since the past year and a half. He wants to know what the future prospects of his investment are. Well, there has been a strong run-up when it comes to, a couple of these PSU or PSEs. But what would you recommend on SAIL at 100 rupees? Do you think there's further upside, or one should just take their profits, Parthiv?
See, Ekta, historically, SAIL has done well when coking coal prices have been low, because SAIL as a company is a net importer of coking coal, and when the iron ore prices have been strong. Luckily, right now, this is the scenario playing out well for spreads of a company like SAIL. They have their own captive iron ore, which is helping them because the international iron ore prices are going up. The steel prices are looking reasonably good. The domestic demand is pretty good. So their capacity utilizations are pretty good. And going ahead, thanks to the fact that coking coal prices have continuously fallen off the cliff, we are expecting very good H2, especially Q4 results. So probably market always tends to factor in that. There is some upside, but again, for a long-term investment play, not the best of the steel companies. I would suggest something like a Tata Steel or a JSPL for the long-term investment part.
Rajat, your view on SAIL?
The SAIL is likely to face good supply pressure between, say, 102 and 105. If it manages to take out that, then definitely there would be some more upswing. But otherwise, if it fails to do so, you will see it coming down to 92, 95 range again, because it has been overstretched by today's move from the moving averages. But overall, I concur with what Parthiv is saying. I don't see much of an upside in it, and there is not much excitement either because it shoots up and then again it comes down.
Okay, all right, Rajat, as well as Parthiv, we're going to let you go on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and sharing all of your views on the queries that we have. That's all the time that we have on this show. Do remember to email us all of your queries. We'll address them with our experts. Stay tuned. Closing bell up next.